In 1995, comedian-magician duo Penn and Teller made one of the cleverest jokes of their careers in the form of a video game. The game is Desert Bus. It simulates, in real time, the 8-hour drive from Tucson, Arizona to Las Vegas, Nevada. That's 8 hours if your top speed is 45 miles an hour, that is. You drift slightly to the right at all times, so you have to constantly correct over the whole 480-minute drive. If you drive a little off the road or swerve, you get towed back to the beginning and have to start over, also in real time. Completing the drive nets you 1 point. The idea is that absolutely no one in their right minds would want to play a game that seeks to genuinely portray reality. The role of a bus driver during the Vegas-Tucson route is a crushingly boring and frustrating role to play. In the context of 1995, this was a specific rebuttal against the idea that violence should be legislated out of video games, that surely there must be pacifist alternatives to games like Doom. Desert Bus is absolutely cutting in how deadpan it is. It's as plain and straightforward as 8 hours of dirt and scrub brush. Nowadays, Desert Bus is the focus of a charity event called Desert Bus for Hope, where players torture themselves all the way to 1 point, taking live donations and then using the money for children's health care. In an article about the event in The New Yorker, one charity streamer is quoted to say, "I've achieved a zen-like state while playing it, where it doesn't bother me so long as I don't think about it, and if I do think about it, it's a goddamn awful experience." While the political climate of 1995 that provoked the joke seems distant now, Desert Bus itself remains a powerful statement about the popular philosophy of video games. Namely, what is so damn interesting about the real world? Aren't escapism and fantasy the defining points of the medium? It feels like every time a game comes along that takes reality seriously, like Firewatch and its refusal to pay off on flights of fancy suggested in the script, there's a strong countercurrent of an argument that's crystallized in Penn and Teller's Desert Bus. No, be reasonable. The thing for me, though, is that I've lived almost my whole life inside the many artificial worlds of video games. When I was young, I used them to escape an unhappy childhood. When I was older, I used them to give me a sense of progress and purpose that I couldn't find working hourly jobs. That video games provide emotions and satisfactions that are often denied to us by the real world has always been a given to me. It's been a crutch and a comfort. But on these desert byways, heading slowly and steadily along the imperceptibly gradual uplift of the Colorado Plateau, the bus would slow down. Flooring it along a lot of old Route 66 through California and Arizona, following the land as it goes up 1, 2, 3, 4,000 feet above sea level, the bus would slow from 65 to 60 to 55 to 52. Lower than 50 and you want to downshift into third, which will top you out at 40 miles an hour, but keep the engine cooler with the higher revs. Plus, it'll royally piss off every single vehicle who winds up behind you waiting for a passing lane as a spiteful bonus. It becomes necessary to continually pull off the road and let other cars flow past, the VW like a fish seeking refuge from too fast current. Other cars especially hate it when they also see the desert as essentially flat-looking, when they don't feel the incline pulling at them like tiny hands on the rear bumper, if painfully claw its way across the landscape. The American image of the open road is partially crafted by car commercials, so there's an impulse to speed like a bullet across the wide-open desert floor, a powerful engine and all the accessories pictured but not priced. These days, even the lowliest Hyundai kicks the bus's ass in terms of power up and down the street. But America is unique because the transition was so violently swift. Native patterns of life and migration and conquest happened over hundreds of years, thousands of years. Things in modern America move so quickly that I don't recognize the world now as the one I grew up in anymore, and I'm 28. When I was 19, I worked at Panera Bread, located in a neighborhood that quite literally did not exist when I was in high school and 16 years old. My friend and I once rode his truck out along the dirt roads and through the grassy California hills that are now suburban housing from horizon to horizon. In terms of the scale of history, Europeans just barely got to America a few hundred years ago, and now look what we've done with the place. There's no going back, of course. Whatever crimes my ancestors committed, the present is now set, and we are all borne along its current as it roars faster and faster. At the cliff dwellings, though, the dwellers experienced a daily present as naturally flowing as the nearby Gila River, curving gently down the slopes of the mountain range. I, on the other hand, have experienced the pace of the modern world as a city storm drain, torrential currents of dirty water coursing in the dark towards an unknowable destination.